All right, so today we're going to dive into something pretty cool,
Oh, yeah.
prepping you for a physics technician interview.
All right.
And we're not talking about just walking in there all nervous and sweaty palms. We're talking about walking in there like you own the place.
That's right. You want to go in there with quiet confidence and ready to impress.
Exactly. With
Yeah.
really insightful answers and a genuine passion for the field.
You want them to see that you really love this stuff.
So to guide us on this journey, we have some really great intel from RoleCatcher
Yeah, their career guide is super helpful.
in their interview guide.
Yes. Even a peek into their AI platform.
Oh, very cool.
That's going to help you get a solid grasp of the role, learn how to tackle those tricky interview questions,
Yes.
and even discover how to get on an employer's radar before you even apply.
It's like having a secret weapon for your job hunt.
That's right.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly does a physics technician do?
Well, you can think of them as the hands-on heroes of the physics world.
Yep.
They're out there monitoring physical processes, running tests, assisting physicists with experiments, basically making the magic happen.
Okay, so it's a pretty dynamic role. Where are they doing all this?
It could be in lab schools or even out in the field.
All right, very cool. So let's talk about the actual interview. What kind of questions can someone expect?
Well, one of the most common questions you'll hear is, what made you interested in this career?
Okay.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really come in handy.
Oh, AI for interview prep. I'd love to hear more about that.
It's pretty amazing, actually. Their AI analyzes job descriptions to pinpoint these specific skills and experience that employers are looking for. So when you're crafting your answer to a question like, why this career, the AI can help you tailor your response to highlight the most relevant aspects of your background.
Okay, so it's not just about giving a generic answer. It's about really making sure that your answer aligns with what that specific employer is looking for.
Exactly. But going back to that question about what made you interested in this career, they're not just looking for a textbook definition of physics. They want to see your passion.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to just say, I like science, right?
No, definitely not.
Like you need to share a specific story.
Exactly.
Maybe a class that sparked your curiosity, or a book that blew your mind, or maybe a project that made you realize this is what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And be prepared for follow-up questions.
Oh,
They might ask, what area of physics are you most interested in? Or what kind of research would you like to be involved in?
so it's not just about showing enthusiasm. It's also about knowing your stuff and being prepared to talk about it in detail.
Exactly. Now, another question you'll probably encounter is, what technical skills make you suitable for this role?
Okay.
This is where you list your most relevant skills. Think lab techniques, data analysis, specific equipment you're familiar with.
And it's not enough to just list them off right. You need to have some concrete examples of how you've actually used those skills. So did you calibrate a particular instrument? Did you troubleshoot a tricky problem in the lab? You need to share those experiences.
And once again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you out here.
How so?
Well, it can analyze your list of skills and compare it to the skills mentioned in the job description. That way you can make sure you're highlighting the skills that are most important to the employer.
So it's like having a personalized cheat sheet for your interview.
You got it.
Okay, so we talk about why you're interested in the career. We've talked about your technical skills. What else might they ask about?
Well, safety is a big one in any lab setting. So
Yeah.
be ready for questions like, what's your experience with laboratory safety protocols?
Right. And again, it's not just about saying, yes, I know the rules.
Yeah.
You have to really demonstrate that knowledge.
It
Lots of
may-
real-world examples.
Right. So mention specific protocols that you're familiar with, like handling hazardous materials, using personal protective equipment, or responding to emergencies. And be specific. If you were responsible for safety checks in a previous role, talk about that.
Okay, so be prepared to give those real examples. And I'm assuming there might be some follow-up questions here, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They might ask you about a time when you had to enforce a safety protocol, even when it was inconvenient. Or they might ask about a safety challenge you faced and how you overcame it.
Yeah, so it's about showing that you're not just aware of the protocols,
Yeah.
but that you take them seriously and you can handle those situations effectively.
Exactly. Okay, now here's one that really gets to the heart of scientific work. How do you ensure accuracy in experiments?
Ooh.
This is where you really showcase your meticulous side.
Yeah, you need to talk about the steps you take to ensure accuracy, like calibrating instruments, controlling variables, repeating experiments, all those little things that can make a big difference.
Exactly, and don't forget those concrete examples. Maybe you double-check your calculations, or meticulously cleaned equipment to avoid contamination. You want to paint a picture of yourself as someone who is thorough and detail-oriented.
So really paint that picture. Now, RoleCatcher can also help you tailor your response here as well, right?
Absolutely. The AI can analyze the job description and highlight specific aspects of accuracy that the employer might be particularly interested in.
Okay, so for example, as the job description mentions something like meticulous data analysis, you can make sure that you emphasize your skills in that area.
Exactly. Now, another important question to be prepared for is, how do you solve problems when results don't match expectations?
Because sometimes experiments don't always go according to plan, right?
Right, exactly. This is where you really break down your problem-solving process.
Okay.
So how do you identify the issue? What steps do you take to troubleshoot? How do you find solutions?
Right, and a specific example would be really good here. Maybe talk about a time when you had an experiment that kept yielding inconsistent results. So you systematically eliminated potential variables until you pinpointed the source of the error.
That's a great example. That kind of story not only demonstrates your problem-solving ability, but also your perseverance and dedication.
Yeah, you're not a quitter.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you highlight the specific problem-solving skills that the employer is looking for.
So with RoleCatcher, you're not just going in blind. You're going in prepared.
Right, and that preparation can make all the difference in how you come across in the interview.
Now, before we jump into more interview questions, let's just take a quick step back and look at the bigger picture, the career path of a physics technician.
Yeah, this is where RoleCatcher's career guide really comes into play.
Okay.
It outlines the typical stages of a physics technician's career, from entry level to senior roles, giving you a sense of where this role can take you.
Okay, so at the entry level, you're primarily assisting with experiments, monitoring processes, handling basic lab tasks.
As you gain experience, you'll move into junior roles, where you might design experiments, calibrate instruments, and troubleshoot more independently.
Okay, and as you progress to the experienced level, you could be leading experiments, training new technicians, and managing inventory.
Right. And finally, at the senior level, you're developing lab policies, managing budgets, and potentially even publishing research.
So there's a really clear path for growth and development in this career. But let's get back to those all-important interview questions. What other questions should someone expect when applying for a physics technician role?
Well, one question that often comes up is, what experience do you have with computer-aided design software, or CAD software, as it's often called?
So they're not just looking for someone who can work in a lab, they're also looking for someone who has some design skills.
That's right. Many physics technicians use CAD software to design parts for experiments, or to model complex systems.
Okay, so what if I haven't used CAD extensively? Should I just be honest about my limited experience?
Absolutely, honesty is always the best policy. But even if your experience is limited, you can still highlight any relevant experience you do have and demonstrate your willingness to learn.
Okay, so if I've used any type of design software, even if it's not specifically CAD, I can mention that and show that I'm adaptable and eager to pick up new skills.
Exactly. And you can also use this as an opportunity to ask about their training programs or opportunities for professional development.
So turning a potential weakness into a chance to show your eagerness to learn. I like that. Now, what about organizational skills? Are those important for a physics technician?
Absolutely. Time management is crucial, especially in a fast-paced lab environment. So be prepared for questions like, how do you ensure that experiments are conducted in a timely manner?
Okay, so what's the best way to approach this type of question?
Well, think about specific examples.
Okay.
Did you create a detailed schedule for a complex experiment? Or maybe you had to adjust your workflow when a piece of equipment malfunctioned.
So it's about showing that I can prioritize tasks, set deadlines, and handle those unexpected hiccups that inevitably come up in a lab setting.
Exactly. And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your response by analyzing the job description and identifying any specific keywords related to time management or organization.
Okay, so far we've covered questions about why you're interested in the career, your technical skills, safety protocols, accuracy in experiments, problem solving and organizational skills. What else might they ask?
Well, depending on the specific role, they might ask about your experience with certain types of equipment. For example, what experience do you have with vacuum systems?
Okay, so it's important to do your research beforehand and try to anticipate what specific equipment they might be using in their lab.
Absolutely. And if you haven't worked with the specific equipment they mention, don't panic. Just highlight any relevant knowledge or experience that you do have and express your eagerness to learn.
Okay, so if I've worked with a similar type of equipment, even if it's not the exact same model, I can talk about that and show that I have a foundation to build upon.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also use this as an opportunity to ask questions about their specific equipment and how they use it in their lab.
So you're showing your interest in an initiative.
Oh,
Okay, that's good. Now let's talk about something that's crucial in any scientific field. Reproducibility.
Oh, yeah. This is one of the cornerstones of science. So be prepared for questions like, how do you ensure that experimental results are reproducible?
Right, it's not just about getting a result once, it's about being able to replicate that result consistently.
Exactly. So when you're answering this question, explain the steps you take to document procedures, control variables, and repeat experiments to ensure consistency.
Right, and again, concrete examples are key.
Right. Did you create a detailed protocol for an experiment?
Yeah.
Or maybe you use a specific method for data analysis to minimize errors. Share those details.
Those details matter, and this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful, right?
Absolutely. By analyzing the job description, the AI can pinpoint any keywords related to reproducibility or quality control, allowing you to tailor your answer accordingly.
So with RoleCatcher, you're not just answering the question, you're answering it in a way that resonates with what the employer's looking for.
Precisely. And that level of preparation can make all the difference in a competitive job market.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive
Yeah.
into physics technician interviews, I want to touch upon something that's been a recurring theme throughout our conversation. The power of RoleCatcher's AI-powered feedback.
Yeah. This is where the platform really shines.
It's not just about providing information, it's about helping you refine your answers and boost your confidence.
Exactly. Imagine practicing your answers to those tricky interview questions and getting instant feedback on how to improve them.
It's like having a virtual interview coach right in your pocket.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your answers, identify areas for improvement, and offer personalized suggestions.
Okay, so if I'm struggling with a particular question, or if I'm not sure how to best highlight my skills, the AI can give me specific, actionable feedback.
That's right. It takes the guesswork out of interview preparation and allows you to refine your responses until you feel confident and prepared.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've explored the role of a physics technician, tackled some challenging interview questions, and even glimpsed into the power of RoleCatcher's AI.
Yeah, but we're not done yet. There's so much more to uncover.
Stay tuned for part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll delve even deeper into interview strategies and career insights.
We'll be right back.
Stay with us.
Welcome back to our deep dive into preparing for that physics technician interview. We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding the role itself to tackling those common interview questions. But there's still so much more to explore.
Yeah, you're right. We've talked a lot about showcasing your skills and experience. But what about those other aspects of the job application process, like the resume and the cover letter?
That's where RoleCatcher really comes into its own. It's not just an interview prep tool. It's a holistic career platform designed to help you at every stage of your job search.
Okay, so let's talk about resumes. How can RoleCatcher help me craft a resume that stands out from the crowd?
Well, it's all about tailoring your resume to specific job descriptions. RoleCatcher's AI analyzes the job description you're interested in, and it identifies the key skills and keywords that the employer is looking for.
So it's kind of like a superpowered keyword search, but for my career.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting. It highlights any skills that are mentioned in the job description, but missing from your resume.
Oh, so it's not just about matching keywords. It's about identifying potential gaps in my skill set.
Oh,
And helping me fill them.
exactly. It's like having a personal career advisor who pinpoints areas for improvement. This way you can tailor your resume to specifically address the employer's needs, making you a much stronger candidate.
Okay, that's incredibly useful. It's like having a secret weapon for standing out from the competition. And what about cover letters? Does RoleCatcher help with those as well?
Absolutely. The same AI-powered tailoring feature works for cover letters, too, and even application questions. It helps you ensure that your entire application package is consistent and targeted to the specific job you're applying for.
So it's a really holistic approach to crafting a compelling application. It's not just about the resume, it's about presenting yourself as the ideal candidate across all touch points.
Precisely. Now let's talk about another powerful aspect of RoleCatcher, its ability to help you get discovered by employers.
Ooh, this is where the tables turn. Instead of just applying, you're actually getting noticed. Tell me more about how this works.
It's all about proactivity. Employers on RoleCatcher can search for candidates based on their skills and experience. So by having a detailed profile on RoleCatcher, And keeping your skills updated, you're essentially putting yourself on the radar of potential employers who are actively seeking individuals with your expertise.
So I could potentially be contacted by employers who are impressed by my profile, even if I haven't directly applied to their jobs.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to open up new career opportunities that you might not have even considered before.
Wow, that's amazing. It really empowers job seekers to take control of their careers and be proactive.
Now let's shift gears a bit
Yeah.
and talk about those crucial interview questions again. We've discussed how to approach some common ones, but let's dive a little deeper into specific strategies.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. There are some nuances to these questions that can really make a difference in how you come across to the interviewer.
Remember, it's not just about giving the right answers. It's also about showcasing your personality and demonstrating that you're the right fit for their team.
So it's not just about my technical skills. It's also about whether I'd be a good addition to their team.
Exactly. And that's why it's crucial to research the company beforehand.
Okay, so before I even step into the interview, I should have a good understanding of the company's mission, their values, and their work environment.
Absolutely. This allows you to tailor your answers to show how your skills and experience align with their specific needs.
So it's kind of like demonstrating that you've done your homework and that you're genuinely interested in working for them.
Precisely. It shows initiative and a desire to be a part of their team.
Okay, now let's talk about those curveball questions. Sometimes interviewers like to throw in questions that are a bit unexpected, just to see how you think on your feet.
That's right. And it's important not to panic when this happens. Take a moment to gather your thoughts. Don't feel pressured to answer immediately. It's perfectly acceptable to pause and say something like, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment."
So I'm not penalized for taking a few seconds to compose myself.
Absolutely not. In fact, it shows that you're thoughtful and deliberate in your responses. Now, while you're gathering your thoughts, try to connect the question to something you've already discussed.
So I could relate it back to my skills or experience,
Yeah.
or even something about the company that I learned during my research.
Exactly. It demonstrates that you're listening attentively and that you're able to make connections between different pieces of information.
So it's like weaving a narrative that showcases my qualifications and fit for the role.
That's a great way to think about it. Now, another tip for handling those curveball questions is to think out loud. Don't be afraid to verbalize your thought process as you work through the question.
What do you mean by think out loud?
Let them see your reasoning, even if you don't arrive at a perfect solution. Showing your thought process demonstrates your problem-solving abilities.
So it's like giving them a glimpse into how my mind works, even if I'm not 100% sure of the answer.
Precisely. It shows that you're analytical, and you can think critically, even under pressure.
Okay, that's a great way to turn a potentially stressful situation into an opportunity to showcase my strengths.
Now let's talk about another aspect of interview preparation that can make a big difference, practicing your responses. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI-powered feedback comes in handy again.
Yeah, this is where the platform really goes beyond just providing information.
Right. By using RoleCatcher, you can practice answering common interview questions and get instant feedback from their AI. It's like having a virtual mock interview, but with personalized guidance.
So the AI analyzes your responses. It identifies areas for improvement, and it offers suggestions on how to make your answers more compelling.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even better. RoleCatcher also offers video practice.
Oh, wow. So I can actually record myself answering interview questions and get feedback on my delivery as well.
Exactly. Their AI analyzes your video, providing insights into your body language, your tone of voice, and your overall presentation.
That's invaluable. It's one thing to practice your answers in your head, but seeing yourself on video can really highlight areas for improvement that you might not even be aware of.
It's like having a personal coach, helping you polish your performance. But practice is only part of the equation. Equally important is showcasing your passion for the field.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about reciting facts and figures. It's about conveying your love for physics and why you're excited about this opportunity to contribute to the field.
Remember, interviewers are looking for someone who's genuinely passionate about what they do.
It's about finding someone who's not just going to show up and punch the clock, but who's going to bring energy, enthusiasm, and a desire to make a difference.
Exactly. So when you're answering those interview questions, don't be afraid to let your passion shine through. Talk about a project that you found particularly exciting. Share a story about what sparked your interest in physics in the first place.
It's about showing them that you're not just looking for a job. You're looking for a place where you can pursue your passion. and make a meaningful contribution.
Precisely. Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the different career stages of a physics technician. We touched upon this briefly earlier, but it's worth exploring in a little more detail.
You're right. It's helpful to understand how this career progresses and what opportunities for growth are available.
Well, RoleCatcher's Career Guide does a fantastic job of outlining these stages, from entry level to senior roles.
Okay, so at the entry level, a physics technician is primarily assisting with experiments, monitoring processes, and handling basic lab tasks.
Right, as you gain experience, you'll move into junior roles, where you might design experiments, calibrate instruments, and troubleshoot more independently.
And as you progress to the experienced level, you could be leading experiments, training new technicians.
And managing inventory.
And finally, at the senior level, you're developing lab policies, managing budgets, and potentially even publishing research.
So there's a really clear path for growth and development in this career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And with the right skills and dedication, you can really make a significant impact in the world of physics. Now let's talk about those dreaded behavioral questions. You know, the ones that ask you to describe a time when you faced a challenge or had to work with a difficult team member.
Oh yeah, those can be tricky. Because they're not asking for specific facts or skills, but rather for examples of how you've handled certain situations in the past. They're like mini case studies, designed to assess your personality, your problem-solving abilities, and how you interact with others.
Exactly. And the key to answering these effectively is to use the STAR method.
Absolutely. STAR stands for Situation, Task, Action, and Result. It's a framework for telling a compelling story that showcases your skills and experience.
Okay, so I'm essentially telling a story about a specific situation, outlining the task I was faced with, describing the actions I took, and explaining the outcome.
Exactly. And the key is to choose situations that are relevant to the job you're interviewing for.
So if I'm applying for a physics technician role, I might talk about a time when I had to troubleshoot a malfunctioning piece of equipment, or a time when I had to work collaboratively with a team to complete a complex experiment.
Those are excellent examples. And when you're describing your actions, be specific and highlight the skills and qualities that the employer is looking for.
So I might talk about my analytical skills, my problem-solving abilities, my communication skills, or my attention to detail.
Exactly. And when you're discussing the result, quantify your achievements whenever possible.
So instead of just saying, I successfully fixed the equipment, I might say, I was able to identify the source of the problem within 30 minutes and repair the equipment within an hour, preventing any delays in the experiment.
Precisely. That kind of quantifiable result demonstrates the impact of your actions and shows the employer the value you can bring to their team.
So it's like turning a story into a compelling data point. That showcases my skills and abilities.
Now let's talk about another aspect of interview preparation. That can really make a difference. Showcasing your knowledge of the field.
Yeah, this is where staying up to date on the latest developments in physics can really pay off.
Exactly. Interviewers are often impressed by candidates who demonstrate a genuine interest in the field and are aware of current trends and breakthroughs.
So I should be prepared to discuss recent discoveries or new technologies, or even challenges facing the field.
Absolutely. It shows that you're not just someone who's looking for a job, but someone who's actively engaged in the world of physics.
So it's like demonstrating that I'm not just a technician, but a lifelong learner who's passionate about pushing the boundaries of knowledge.
Precisely. And it shows the interviewer that you're invested in your career and you're committed to staying at the forefront of the field.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about tailoring your resume, getting discovered by employers, handling those tricky interview questions, showcasing your passion, and even understanding the different career stages of a physics technician.
But there's still one more piece of the puzzle that we need to discuss.
And what's that?
Making a lasting impression.
All right, welcome back. We've talked a ton about what it takes to be a physics technician and how RoleCatcher can really help you nail that interview. But let's talk about that final impression, that home stretch that can really make all the difference.
You're right. It's not just about answering their questions. It's about showing them you're engaged and genuinely curious.
Okay.
And a great way to do that is by asking insightful questions at the end of the interview.
Okay, so not just like, what's the coffee situation?
Yeah, definitely not. Think about it. You've just spent time learning about the company and the role. What genuinely piques your interest?
Okay.
Maybe they mentioned an upcoming project. You could ask, what role would a physics technician play in that?
Oh, that's good, because it shows you've been listening. And you're already thinking about how you would fit in.
Exactly. You can also ask about team dynamics. professional development opportunities, or the company's long-term goals. It all demonstrates initiative.
Okay, so thoughtful questions are key. What else can you do to leave a really strong final impression?
Well, this might sound simple, but enthusiasm is contagious. Let your passion for physics shine through. Talk about a project that excited you, a concept that blew your mind.
So it's about showing them you're not just filling a position, but that you're really eager to contribute to the world of physics.
Right. And never underestimate a genuine thank you. A simple thank you for your time is good, but take it a step further.
Like, I'm really excited about this opportunity, and my experience with, and then mention a relevant skill makes me a strong fit for your team.
Perfect. It's a subtle reminder of why you're the ideal candidate.
Nice. And while we're on the topic of presentation, let's talk about interview attire. I'm guessing a lab coat isn't the go-to look here.
Probably not for the interview itself. You want to project professionalism. Business casual is usually a safe bet. Think neat slacks or a skirt, a button-down shirt or blouse, maybe a blazer if you want to add a touch of formality.
Right, but comfort is important too. You don't want to be fidgeting with your clothes during the interview.
Absolutely. Choose an outfit that makes you feel confident and comfortable so you can focus on being your best self.
Okay, that makes sense.
And lastly, remember this. An interview is a two-way street.
It's not just them evaluating you, you're also evaluating them.
That's right. Pay attention to the company culture, the team dynamics, and how they describe the role. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it might not be the right fit, even if it looks good on paper.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We really unpacked what it means to be a physics technician. We tackled those tough interview questions, and we even explored how RoleCatcher can be your secret weapon.
We went from the nitty-gritty details to the bigger picture of where this career can take you.
And remember, it's about more than just technical skills. It's about passion, curiosity, and that drive to contribute to our understanding of the universe.
As you prepare for that interview, ask yourself, what impact do I want to make in the world of physics?
What problems are you eager to solve? What discoveries do you want to be a part of?
Let that passion fuel your preparation. You got this.
And good luck out there.